Welcome to week 4, which is where we're going to start talking about food and beverage operations. So last week we talked about room operations, and now we're going to move over to another side of the hotel, which is food and beverage operations. So after reviewing the materials this week, the hope is that you would be able to identify duties and responsibilities of different departments within the food and beverage division, calculating key food and beverage ratios, and I do have a secondary video on that to kind of walk through that a little bit more detail, and then challenges in each department within food and beverage division. And so I'm introducing this week some of the material and also beverage assignment, which is going to be due February 17th. So I have assigned a specific beverage to each individual for you to be able to report out on. And then a food and beverage assignment, I've introduced it here, but it's really not due until March 10th. So you have some time, but I wanted you to have the assignment so that as we go through the different areas of food and beverage this week and in the subsequent weeks, you'll have that in mind. So I did have another organizational chart, which again is just a sample, and it really is going to depend on the size of the hotel and the services that they provide, what positions they have. Sometimes it'll be a food and beverage director. If it's a smaller operation, maybe the food and beverage team reports directly to a director of operations, for example. So starting from left, of course, you have the culinary department, which can be led by the executive chef and also having sous chefs. Chief steward is a position. The stewarding department in general, not a lot of people know what that is, and it's one of the most important areas in a hotel or in a food and beverage establishment because they are responsible for the sanitation. And so the dishwashers, making sure that the temperatures and the titration of chemicals is appropriate, can really make or break a food and beverage establishment. In the middle there, you have event operations and event planning. So if you are in a hotel that has meeting rooms, these are the areas that work together to be able to plan what's going to be happening in those meeting rooms and then execute day of. So the event planning team with event managers are responsible for getting the information from the sales department who's booked the business, working with the client on what their agenda is, what their particulars are, what color napkins they want, this kind of thing. And then they turn it over to the operations department with banquet managers that executes food and beverage service in those meeting rooms as well as the setup. And then to the far right, we have food and beverage outlets, right? It could be a restaurant manager. It could include room service, although I saw from our discussions that we participated in that's sometimes not prevalent in hotels anymore. It could have a bar. It also could have a coffee shop. It could have a 3-meal-a-day restaurant, fine dining restaurant. There's really a lot of different types of restaurants, and we'll get into that in the subsequent weeks. But that's an overall example of an organizational chart for food and beverage areas within a hotel. Okay, and there's quite a bit of other content. I'm not going to summarize it here, but I did want to provide a little bit of detail in the beverage assignment. These are the questions that you're going to be answering for the beverage assignment. How is that beverage made? Where does it come from? What are some trends with that beverage? And what food does it pair best with? Or what food should you eat with that particular beverage? And so I'm going to scroll down, and as you're going to see, I have it alphabetical by your first name so that you can take a look and see what beverage you were assigned to. So everyone is going to have an opportunity to report out on one, and I'm asking for you to please submit it as a presentation. It could be that you video it, like I'm videoing this. It could be a PowerPoint, however you feel comfortable. I will turn those presentations into a discussion guide to be able to allow you to learn from your fellow students in this particular week's materials. So that's an overview of that beverage assignment that's going to be coming up due February 17th. So if you have any questions on that, or really anything having to do with food and beverage, or any of the content in the class so far, please don't hesitate to let me know. So then as a summary, for the content and activities this week, after you've watched some videos, maybe even some funny videos on service standards in food and beverage, there is a short quiz on the first couple of chapters that we've gone over. I've overviewed the beverage assignment that will be due February 17th. I wanted you to see the characteristics of the food and beverage assignment that'll be due after we've concluded all of the different modules that make up areas of food and beverage. And also don't forget, if you have a question, you can please put it in the discussion. And also make sure that you're completing service evaluations so that we can learn some of your experiences as well. Thanks so much and have a great week ahead.